Hello everyone, my name is Reggie and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about meltdowns. I'm back in my rocking chair in my bedroom again, and I have these new glasses that I just got a couple weeks ago. They're progressive bifocals and I've never had progressive bifocals before, so I keep shifting my head to try to get a clear image. So if I look like a bobblehead, that's why. But hopefully I'll get used to them soon. So anyway, I want to talk to you guys about meltdowns because a lot of people ask me if I have meltdowns, why I have them, what causes them, and what they're like. So I figured I would just let you all know. So I have different types of meltdowns. The first type of meltdown is a blood-curdling, screaming, like horrific meltdown where it'll be just super strong and super intense, but it can also be very short. Those kinds of meltdowns I have when I am dealing with a sound overload. And specifically, the sounds that will cause those will be music, especially a bass thump. Like when people are playing music that has a lot of bass in it. And it's gotten to the point now where it doesn't take much, especially if I'm exhausted or already overwhelmed. I can have a huge screaming meltdown at the very first beat that I hear. And people will say to me, well, we'll just turn the music down. And that doesn't actually work for me because the music can be so soft that other people can't even detect it, and it will be enough to make me have a blood-curdling, screaming meltdown. These things that I wear them almost 24/7. Those of you who watched my last video, I was not wearing them because I was in a very natural setting where there wasn't a lot of that kind of stimuli. There were cars that were driving by the roads that were not too far away, but there wasn't enough traffic that it was a danger that people were going to be blasting stereos, and the people that were there were not playing music at all. So I was able to take off the headset and enjoy just being out in nature. But I have to wear a headset like this very close to 24/7. I sleep in it. I wear it in the shower. I only don't wear it in the shower when I'm washing my hair. And obviously I don't wear it when I'm doing a sport that requires a helmet. But other than that, unless I'm in an environment where it's very quiet, I have to wear them. So I'm wearing them about maybe every single day, except for maybe an hour or so if I'm somewhere that I can safely take them off. And there are issues with having to wear these things 24/7. It's important for people to know these issues, especially if you have autistic children that require them. What I have found for me is I have to have several pairs. I have 2 pairs of these identical ones that I bought on Amazon, And these are great because they also have the Bluetooth, so I can listen to my own music. And they also have, I don't know if you can see, they have this hole here. And that hole is a jack so that I can plug into my TV when I want to watch Netflix or something, because my TV isn't Bluetooth. But I bought these on Amazon and they were really inexpensive, and they work pretty well. I don't know if you can see what the brand is. I don't even know what the brand is. Oh, there it is. I don't know if you can read it. Whatever that says. But I find that these are really nice because they do a pretty good job, especially if I'm playing my own music through them. But even with these headsets and other headsets that are very, very high quality and very expensive, I still have a problem with bass, because bass travels through your bones and it comes in through the bones in the back of the skull. So sometimes there's absolutely nothing that I can do about that. And I was about to tell you about some of the issues with wearing these headsets. So I have a couple pairs of them because if I'm wearing them all day long for hours and hours and hours, they do tend to compress. And after a while, the cartilage in my ears becomes unimaginably painful. And so I will switch the headset and put on a new pair that's puffed out, and then that will compress, and then I keep swapping it out. And also because these are Bluetooth, they do charge, so as one of them is charging, I'll be wearing the other one. But I do have to change them regularly, otherwise the pain on my ears is just too unbearable. The other thing that I noticed is that because I have to wear a headset all the time, I do have problems with my ears not breathing, not getting airflow. And so if you have an autistic child or an autistic loved one who is not able to communicate in a way that you can understand everything that he's trying to say, if your loved one wears these types of devices, be very careful to rotate them and to have times where they can be in safe places so that they can take the devices off and their ears can have airflow, because that's incredibly important. And you want the cartilage in the ear to be able to relax. So that's the first kind of meltdown that I have, is the really intense screaming meltdown. And that is usually, that has to do with music, with types of music. The types of music that cause me to have that kind of response are the bass beats, and also music that's really fast. Like if it's like rap or some of the Latino and Hispanic music will be very fast in nature. And that's just music that my brain isn't able to process. I just can't. So that will make me basically explode. I have had situations where it's been so intense that I have blacked out. I have had situations where the music has caused me to physically collapse and get concussions. I've had instances where music has caused me to collapse and I had what might have possibly been equivalent to a seizure. So it's very, very serious. And so as I share this, I really want people to be very considerate about the music that they play and how loudly they play it, because there's really no reason to blast it, to kingdom come. I always ask that if people want to blast their music, that they wear a headset and blast it into the privacy of their own heads. And that way, people who have a neurological disorder like this can be safe. Because even in my own home, if I'm trying to sleep, if I'm trying to rest, if I'm just trying to be home, if I'm going to a grocery store, if I'm out in public, if I'm anywhere at all, I am at risk of a very, very serious neurological collapse just because someone wants to blast a stereo. And that's a very, very difficult way to have to live. So please consider, if you want to play music and you want to play it loudly, consider wearing a headset so that you can enjoy it as loud as you want and the rest of us can be safe and live peacefully. The next kind of meltdown that I want to share with you guys that I have, I call this the speech and communication meltdown. This is the kind of meltdown where I will headbang. And sometimes, rarely, but sometimes there will be screaming involved in that as well. But there will most definitely be headbanging. This is when I am in a conversation with someone and the person that I am talking to is not making any sense at all. The reason this usually happens is that I am a very logical thinker. Things have to make logical sense for me to understand them. So when I am speaking to someone who is speaking from a more social perspective or even a more emotional perspective, where basically all of their convictions are coming not from what is logically factual, but from how they feel or from their social standing. When I talk to people who are coming from that kind of perspective, the things that they say don't tend to make any sense to me because they're not factually grounded. They're not based on logic. They're not based on facts. So I'll give you an example. Sometimes I'll be talking to people and I will say, this is what happened. Like A happened, then B happened, then C happened. And because those three things happened in that order, D is the conclusion. And the person will say, well, I don't agree with you because that doesn't make me feel good. I don't feel right if that's the issue. So I'm going to change the facts. I'm going to change the order of sequencing. I'm going to change what's really factually happening so that I can present a scenario that makes me feel good emotionally or feel good socially. And so the facts will be completely distorted. Now, the person who is doing this, I'm not sure that they know that they're changing the facts because they stick to it like glue. They stick to it like their life depends on it. And then they try to convince me that what they're saying is correct. And it's not possible to convince me that what they're saying is correct because it doesn't line up factually. It doesn't line up logically. And this insistence that they're right and that I have to agree with that is not something that my brain is able to compute. So my brain implodes. And I have a meltdown. And some people think, oh, I'm being obstinate or I'm being manipulative or I'm being this or that. But that's not true. I'm not being any of those things. What's happening is that I'm trying to make sense of what the person is saying. I'm trying to make some kind of logical sense of it, but it's impossible. And so my brain literally blows a circuit. And that causes what feels like an internal combustion. And it causes such an internal sensation of pain inside of my head that the only way that I can lessen that pain that I'm feeling is to create another type of pain, which will then help disperse the first pain. And that's why I headbang, because I have to create another pain so that the initial pain, the initial explosion which is happening, which I'm feeling in my head because I can't make any sense of what this person is saying, is so extreme that the only way to lessen it is to create a diversion, to create another type of pain to divert it. So that kind of meltdown, that communication meltdown, that feels like an actual explosion going on in my head. When I have a sensory meltdown from somebody's music, what that feels like to me, the best way that I can describe that feeling is with every beat of the music, it feels like someone is taking a tire iron and bashing me with it. And it's that kind of a sensation that I'm responding to. So that causes that neurological trigger to have that kind of reaction. So people will tell me, I need to control myself, or, whatever they want to tell me. And they don't realize that the response that I'm having is because I am in actual agonizing pain. And if you can remember that, when you see someone else having a meltdown, or when your loved one has a meltdown, you can look at it from a different perspective. You can look at it from a perspective of, wow, that child or that autistic person is experiencing so much pain, especially if it's in public. Nobody wants to have a meltdown in public. It's very shameful. It's like, it's embarrassing, and we feel people looking at us. We feel people judging us. Even as little tiny kids, we know we're being judged. It's not something that we do because it's fun and we have nothing else to do. It is definitely not an attention-seeking mechanism. It is not manipulation in any way, shape, or form. It is an expression of absolute distress and internal pain that is so massive that it causes you to have that kind of reaction where all you can do is scream, or all you can do is bang your head in hope that that will help. So thank you so much for listening, and please like and subscribe. And hopefully we can change our perspective so that we can be a much better support to those we love.